Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Lee. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you have already, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a wall yoga practice for tight hips. So to get started, you can lay your mat out vertically. I laid mine out horizontally just so it can fit in the frame. But if you lay it the other way, it'll give you enough space so that you have support for your entire back. So we're going to bring the pelvis as close as we can towards the wall. And we'll start with the legs up the wall, separating your feet at hip distance apart, getting yourself nice and comfortable, making a few movements. You can start to close your eyes, settling in, and placing your right hand on your belly, your left hand on your heart. Maybe both hands on your heart, maybe both hands on your belly. Just notice how these different movements feel. Ask yourself which one makes you feel more grounded, which one feels more comfortable in between your shoulders and the back of your neck. And as you lie here, start to settle in and start to take deep breaths, feeling the rise and fall of your belly, feeling the contraction and the expansion of your ribs, of your chest. Starting to slow down for a few minutes in the day, allowing your body the space and the time to feel, to meet you where it's at. Now you'll have the option of breathing in and out through your nose, connecting to your Ujjayi pranayama, or maybe taking deep inhales through your nose, filling up all the way through your belly, all the way towards your chest, and exhaling deeply out through your mouth. Maybe doing a little bit of both throughout the practice, interchanging them. Maybe every time you switch into a pose, breathing out through the mouth. So let yourself play around a little bit. Don't be too strict with yourself here. This is a fun practice. We are using the wall as a prop, so let your breath be a prop to you too. Be resting your hands on your body. Release them beside you, palms beside your hips, and then rock your hips side to side, hovering off the ground just a few inches, releasing any tension you might be holding on into your low back. And then we'll bend the knees into the chest, into Apanasana, giving yourself a tight hug, giving yourself a big thank you for showing up even in a life that's so busy. They can easily restrict us from doing what's good for us. And while you're here, start to find movement through your feet, flexing and pointing at the ankles, maybe making a few circles, waking up the toes. Our first pose here is going to be a reclined pigeon pose. So you might have done this before, except without the wall. It's going to pretty much look the same, except our right foot is on the wall while the knee is bent, and the left ankle is crossing over the right knee, creating a figure four in between the thighs. So you might have to shimmy forward or back a little bit here, depending how tight the hips are. So kind of gauge that out, and then find the space where you're most comfortable, and you can find some stillness for a few breaths. So if your hips are tight, you might be a little further away from the wall. If your hips aren't so tight, a little more open like mine, then you will find that your pelvis is a lot closer to the wall. Once you arrived in your pigeon, you have a few options. You can either relax your arms beside your body, just how they were in the beginning, or you can bring that left hand to press the left knee open and assist it in opening up a little deeper. Always feeling free to keep the eyes closed throughout the entire practice. If you find that you become completely comfortable in a pose, ask yourself if you would like to add a little extra challenge and maybe draw the hips closer towards the wall, folding your knees closer into your chest. Coming into a reclined cow face pose, allow the knees to completely overlap over one another as much as they can. So the left knee is over top of the right is under. We're trying to get them in line here, and your hands are reaching for the pinky edges of your feet. And we're drawing the hips towards the floor. So you'll feel that this is a really intense stretch in the outer hips. We won't be here for too long. Start to unwind, extending the legs up the wall and bending the knees a few times. Let's go ahead and take that reclined pigeon on the opposite side. So this time the left knee will be bent, foot up against the wall for some support, and we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee this time. Setting your hands wherever it felt comfortable for you, and closing the eyes. Take 10 to 15 deep breaths, sending every single breath towards any sensation you might be experiencing, any sensation that might feel uncomfortable, maybe a bit challenging for you. Sending that extra love, that extra patience, extra support. Letting your breath guide you into knowing when to take a step back and when to move forward for an extra challenge. Perhaps bringing your hips closer and drawing your knees closer into your body. Perhaps that means taking a step back and drawing your hips further away. We'll slowly come into that cow face. The right knee will be over the left this time. Left knee is underneath, trying to bring them in line with one another. Start drawing your heels towards the ground, allowing your entire spine to be flat on the ground. Start relaxing your arms towards the tops of your thighs, and we'll extend the legs up, shaking the knees out one more time. When you're ready, I want you to start scooting your hips as much as you can towards the wall, connecting them if your body allows you to. And we'll come into a reclined butterfly pose. So we're going to bring the bottom of the feet to touch, heels as close as they can come towards the pelvis, and the knees are coming out wide. So just like you would in a seated position, except lying down this time. can rest your hands on your belly, one on the heart, one on the belly, just like we did in the beginning of the practice. Sometimes, depending on the pose, the hands will feel better in one spot rather than the other, so don't restrict yourself to doing it the same every single time. You have an option to rest the hands somewhere. Give ourselves a little assist here for a second. So you can bring both hands to the inner thighs, and then one hand at a time, start pressing that thigh towards the wall. So kind of giving your hips a bounce, going towards the right first, then towards the left, and we're walking the palms towards the knee as we do this movement. Once you reach the knees, you can press both knees out at the same time, guiding your hips into opening, pressing them away from your shoulders. And you can stay here for about 5 more breaths, or extend that right leg beside you towards the right side of the room, and then switching it out and extending your left leg. And we'll do that one more time. Extending the right, and then extending through the left. We'll be coming into a straddle, allowing both legs to come out as wide as they can go, relaxing through your feet and letting your tailbone press up against the wall for some support. If you do have a strap that you want to use, you can go ahead and bring it to your widest setting it on the feet, and this will kind of help the support so gravity doesn't draw your feet too apart and maybe cause some unwanted pain in between the hips. Now, I will say without the strap, it is an extra challenge. It's up to you really whether you want to challenge yourself or whether you want to make it more restorative. If you're not using the strap and you're choosing to take that extra challenge and allow your hips to open up, keep the awareness on the sensation. If at any point it does become painful, allow yourself to take a step back and draw your legs closer towards one another. We're going to bring the hands towards the quads and press the legs together up the wall. Coming into a half Shulay pose, we're going to bend the right knee and align that knee over the left knee. And you can interlace your hands behind that left leg, either by your calf, behind your knee, or behind your hamstring. So that left heel is off of the wall and pulling towards your face. Beautiful. Uncross the legs, and we'll take that shoelace in the opposite direction. Left knee is going to cross over that extended right leg this time. Wrap your hands around, not your hams, your hands, wherever you find it to be most comfortable, and draw that leg towards your face. If your eyes aren't closed, I invite you to close them at this moment. As we uncross the legs, we'll hug the knees in, drawing them as close as you can towards your chest. At this point, your entire spine should be grounded along the mat. We'll take a supine twist, so bring the arms out wide into a T, palms are facing up towards the sky. And we'll drop the knees over to the right side of the room, as your gaze falls over to your left palm. Using the strength of your core, start to draw your knees back in through towards your chest, and we'll drop them over towards the left side. Turn your gaze to your right palm this time. Gaze back up towards the sky. Draw your knees back in, wrapping your arms around. Option to go straight into your Shavasana. Maybe come into a happy baby for just a few moments. You can rock side to side or find stillness as you draw your knees closer to the ground. If you are choosing to take your Shavasana before this happy baby, you'll have two options, either legs up the wall. This is going to be great if you have inflammation in your legs, if you stand up a lot, if you run, if you work out your legs a lot. So we have this option, or just dropping the legs over to one side and scooting your body directly onto the mat, taking your regular Shavasana, lying flat on the spine. We'll bring the legs out wide. Let yourself take up space. We'll bring the heels to fall outwards, palms to face the sky, and eyes gently closed. Releasing control of your breath, of your pranayama. Allow your breath to start flowing back naturally in the rhythm that it chooses. Allow any thoughts to start flowing back, flowing in and out as they come. I invite you to stay in your Shavasana for 2 to 3 minutes if you have the time. Otherwise, thank you so much for allowing me to guide your practice today. I hope it felt yummy. I hope your hips feel a little bit more open and your heart is open to match that. Once again, my name is Lee. Thank you so much for practicing with me today on this beautiful day. Namaste.